Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Guns N' Roses True Stories. So today we're talking about a Guns N' Roses album that I haven't talked about really a whole lot before, and that is GNR Lies. Now, I did a True Story episode all about One in a Million. It's almost like 25 minutes long. So if you guys want to check that out, I've linked to it down below in the description box. And for those of you who've never seen my channel before, I like to do retrospectives and cool in-depth videos about Guns N' Roses songs and albums, and I've done a couple of other albums of theirs. I've done Appetite for Destruction, I've done the Spaghetti Incident, and then I've done the Live Era album as well as the Greatest Hits album, and I have plans to do the Illusions albums as well as Chinese Democracy, which will be a 15 or 16-part miniseries. So let's talk about GNR Lies. So GNR Lies came out in November of 1988. And some people don't consider it a full album, while others consider it the second studio album by Guns N' Roses. And it was officially released as an extended play. It was treated as a studio album when it was released. So according to the RIAA, which tracks the number of records sold, the album sold over 5 million copies in the US alone, and Patience was the only single release from GNR Lies. So Patience peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, and this is the last Guns N' Roses album to feature Steven Adler. Now, you could say, Use Your Illusion 2 has Steven Adler, but he's only playing on the song Civil War. So the first 4 tracks of GNR Lies actually consist of songs that were previously released from their live EP, or their so-called live EP, Live Like a Suicide, while the last 4 songs were recorded with acoustic guitars, and they were written and recorded in only a few studio sessions, with the exception of You're Crazy, which of course appeared on Appetite for Destruction, although it was an alternate version that appeared on Appetite. It's a much faster version. So Mike Klink, who was the producer for the album, said that this was one of the most magical rock and roll history moments. According to the interview he did on VH1 for Behind the Music, he said he recorded the entire band in one room. They were sort of like sitting in a circle, and it was only 1 or 2 sessions that he recorded, and then the album was done. So this is the track listing for GNR Lies. There's a total of 8 tracks, and the first 4 tracks are from Live Like a Suicide. In fact, when Live Like a Suicide came out, there weren't that many copies that were, released for sale. So what people end up doing is they'd end up trying to resell Live Like a Suicide, and they'd be charging outrageous amounts for the album. So Guns N' Roses didn't like this. So they said, why don't we just reissue these tracks as part of GNR Lies, so that, people trying to take advantage of GNR fans can't do that. So the first 4 tracks are from Live Like a Suicide. So Reckless Life was an old Hollywood Rose song. Nice Boys was a Rose Tattoo song. Move to the City was an old song that Izzy and Chris Webber had written, and Del James as well. While Mama Kin was an Aerosmith song that Guns N' Roses did a cover of, and they also played with Aerosmith back in 1992 when they played this pay-per-view special in Paris. While tracks 5 through 8 are considered new tracks, although You're Crazy, like I said before, was recorded on Appetite, but like the band members said, You're Crazy was originally intended to be more of a slower acoustic kind of song. And the song Used to Love Her was actually written by Izzy as a joke after he heard a guy on the radio whining about some broad who was treating him bad. Slash stated in an interview that people think it's about one of our old girlfriends, but it's actually about Axl's dog. So let's talk about the album artwork. So the cover is a parody of tabloid newspapers, as are the liner notes. So the album's cover art underwent several modifications when the title was released on CD. So first, in the bottom left corner, reading Lies, 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 it originally read, Wife beating has been around for 10,000 years. Secondly, instead of Elephant gives birth to Midget, the original headline reads, Ladies, welcome to the Dark Ages. Many copies of the original LP release also contain an uncensored picture of a nude model on the inner LP sleeve. Now, Wes Arkeen, who is a friend of Guns N' Roses and who's written several Guns N' Roses songs, or helped co-write several Guns N' Roses songs, actually played percussion on tracks 5 through 8 of the album. So let's talk about what the band members have actually said about the album. So in a 1988 interview that Slash did with MTV, he said the EP's not meant to be taken all that seriously. It's not done. It wasn't done expensively. It's not like a major album. It's not anything. It's just like a sort of filler. He also talked about, with Hit Parader in October of 1988, that we still haven't decided exactly what to do next time, but we have thought about doing some acoustic stuff. For those fans who don't know, we like to play acoustic sets every now and then when we get the chance. We do those when we have in-store record signings and things like that, and people get off on it. Maybe it would be too radical a departure from what people now expect after Appetite for Destruction, but we kind of like keeping everyone a little off balance. If we can keep doing that, we'll be around for a long, long time. Slash also said to MTV in 1988 that it's us and it's our music and stuff in an important way, but it's not just meant to be, it's not meant to be taken as seriously as, say, an album is taken. It's really sloppy. It's got us talking in the background, guitar picks dropping, stuff like that. It's out of tune in a lot of places. It's just sort of hanging out, getting drunk and playing. Didn't think it should go on an actual album, and we needed something to put out to fill the gap between the first record and the next one. It's not really that big of a deal. Slash also talked about the subtitle, lies, the drugs, the sex, the violence, and the shocking truth. That's a pretty self-explanatory as well. It's like the band's just sort of the center of attention as far as sort of controversy in rock and roll and stuff like that. And they make up all these stories. I found out today I died again today. And Axl dies all the time. There's this crap going around. People love to make stuff up about you. I don't know why. We're the band that seems to be the center of all that attention. Sort of parody of the whole existence. The artwork on the EP is done like a British tabloid kind of. And Duff also talked about recording the album. He said the acoustic stuff we did in just like a day, right? So it wasn't a huge project or anything like that. It's just, I think, to show another side of the band, sort of. And also, our next album is not going to be out for a while, so there's a huge void space then we'd like to fill in a bit. So we can't talk about GNR Lies without talking about the controversy behind 1 in a Million. So Guns N' Roses was heavily criticized for releasing that song. A lot of people labeled them as racist, bigots, homophobes, and a bunch of other things. And rather than rehash the True Story episode I did about 1 in a Million, I'm just going to let MTV do the talking. So here's the clips from 1980s when the album came out and all the controversy about 1 in a Million was going on. So here it is for your guys' enjoyment.
Getting set to make another record. Axl filled us in on that.
Well, we have an EP out called Live Like a Suicide, and it's a 4-song EP, but what we're going to be doing now is releasing another EP called GNR Lies, and putting the two together, 4 on one side, 4 on the other. Yeah, the subtitle is The Sex, the Drugs, the Violence, the Shocking Truth, just because we really like that title.
Today, with a new strain of racist propaganda reaching out toward white youth, it is disquieting to hear the leader of one of the biggest white rock bands in America sing a song that attacks not only foreigners and homosexuals, but also, as Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses put it, niggers. That's right. Get out of my way. Equally disturbing, part of the distaste felt by many white hard rock fans for disco in the 1970s was an often unspoken resentment of the black and gay people who were in large part its stars. But few things so strikingly suggest how far pop music has strayed from its 60s vision as the Guns N' Roses song 1 in a Million, with its startling assault on immigrants and, as lyricist Axl Rose puts it, faggots and niggers. Immigrants and faggots, there's no sense to me.
I used the word niggers because it just fit real quick. It fit, it was accurate, and it wasn't being derogatory to a large group. Nigger's a word that has got thrown onto the black race, and it's stuck better than any of the words that they've come up from white people, and to where now it's just, among black people, it's just common language. Like when they say yo man, it's like yo nigger or whatever. So there's a lot of different meanings to that word, but a lot of people just take the time to assume that when a white person uses the word nigger, it's meant that the whole black race, and you're derogatory and you're a racist.
It's true that black people have used the word nigger among themselves. Comic 1 in a Million is intended to be taken the same way.
I was talking to Axl Rose about that song. I met up with him in Los Angeles. Nice guy. I asked him, what about this song? And his point was he wasn't saying it as him. He was saying this is what people say. He said that was his, just to present his point of view.
But 1 in a Million, based as it very much seems to be on Rose's own experiences when he first arrived in Los Angeles, packs such an unpleasant punch for the very reason that there's no apparent distance between the song's writer and its angry young protagonist. Maybe this isn't a case of racism. Maybe it's just an artistic shortcoming. Rose, whose partner, the guitarist Slash, is half black himself, doesn't consider himself a racist, and some black people don't even think that his use of the word nigger should be that big a deal.
I think that as a black person, so, if you want to express his thoughts, Guns N' Roses, peace.
But the casual, especially those who admire the music of such groups as Guns N' Roses and Public Enemy, can do something. they can call these people to account.
Everyone that's an artist has artistic freedom to do what they want. I am completely against censorship. So I think Axl Rose has the right to say what he likes. But if he puts it out in the, in the public eye, then he has to deal with the reaction. Yeah.
Why have Guns N' Roses when there's been so much controversy over their lyrics with references to blacks and homosexuals and immigrants?
Because we want to appeal more to the gay black market.
So that does it for this episode of Guns N' Roses True Story. I hope you guys enjoyed this look at GNR Lies. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section. And be sure to like the video if you enjoyed the contents of it. And please subscribe if you love Guns N' Roses as much as I do and want to see more videos just like this. You guys can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And you can also support my channel on Patreon as well. The links to all that stuff is down below in the description box. Take care.